as the technology advances faster and faster because more and more people are working really hard for that to happen, day by day we are closer to becoming a multiplanetary species. As we know, the biggest chance for that to happen is on Mars, but still, Mars is a really dangerous and unwelcoming place. For us humans to be able to sustain life there, we will first need to colonize it and slowly terraform it into some sort of mutant planet Earth. So I was called up by the god of space travel to drop on the surface of Mars, and my mission is to start a small base and eventually terraform Mars. What I didn't told you yet, and it's not really that important, is that all of this is gonna happen in Minecraft. So I survived 100 days on Mars in Minecraft, and you are coming with me on this journey. Alright, this is too crazy long to make, so if at any point you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, it's free, like the video, thank you. Enjoy. Alright, so a couple of disclaimers before you start watching this whole video. Basically, you cannot sleep on Mars right now, at least in the beginning. So I decided to count the night as another day because we were walking full-time 24/7, right? And as far as I've seen, this 100-day survival challenge, not many play at night. So at least I hope you give me this, not sleeping at night and letting me to count another day. Given that the day and night cycle in Minecraft is 10 minutes for the day and 10 minutes for the night, it's basically 2 days in one. So I hope you're okay with that. And the second disclaimer is be careful, I'm not good with mods, so those good with mods, please don't cry over this video because I'm really not good with mods. Alright, so yeah, this is Mars. It doesn't look too pretty, right? I mean, it's this reddish fog all over the place. We can see the Earth from here, which I think is not very accurate, but let it be. And it's a big ball of emptiness as well. So day one, we gotta start working on things. We also arrived here with a bunch of things that will help us establish some basic things that there's no way we can find here on Mars, but I'll explain those later. Also, we got this amazing quest book that will also help us and guide us, hint us to what we build next. Alright, so in our package we have these solar panels, because on Mars the only source of energy we have right now is the sun, so we gotta collect as much as we can. And after those solar panels we have all these complicated oxygen collectors and stuff. I don't even know what it is. Don't worry, it's fine, we'll get it done. Also, the temperature on Mars is not as friendly as it's on Earth, so we got this suit with thermal padding and also 2 oxygen tanks that will help us breathe until we can establish some better cubicles. But the oxygen is running out, so we gotta hurry a bit. So I started by connecting the solar panels to the oxygen bubble distributor. Don't worry, it sounds complicated, it's not that complicated. We'll see what this does in a minute. But as you can see, it's getting power, so that's good. Next up, we connected the oxygen collector, which will basically collect oxygen from the trees, so we can refuel the tanks that will help us breathe. I also connected all the solar panels and placed this mega torch, which is basically a torch but it's bigger, so it gives a lot more light, and also because normal torches don't work without oxygen. So as I connected all the solar panels, I have this energy storage module which basically stores energy for a longer period of time, so we can run our things even in the nighttime where there's no sun, because solar panels don't work at night, obviously. But as the night approaches, you see creepers even exist on Mars. One of the trees grew, so as we can see, the oxygen collector is now collecting oxygen from the tree. The rest of the night was basically me waiting for the other trees to grow. Finally, on day 2, we were able to collect the first pieces of wood, and as you can see, the quest book rewards you for doing things, so we got more pieces of wood. Now, the first thing we have to do is to actually collect more saplings, because we need trees, and you do that by making crooks. What a wooden crook does, it just increases the chance of a drop when you break a leaf, for example. So instead of getting 2 or 3 saplings from this tree, if we break the leaves manually with a crook, we turn out with 10, which is great. Then I accidentally placed a block, which I didn't meant to, and I needed a pickaxe to break it. So I decided to break the dirt underneath, and I was shocked what happened. The dirt block just turned out into a weird mob that killed itself, so yeah. Now you may be wondering how we get dirt. Well, we have to start off by making a barrel that acts basically as some sort of compost. You just place leaves, saplings, apples for example, and when it's full, if you let it for a while, it will make dirt. So for that we need a lot of saplings. Also, this huge tree grew in the middle, so I said this will be my oxygen tree, so I will never cut it down, and decided to place another oxygen collector close to that big tree. Then I connected the oxygen collector with these fancy white pipes to the oxygen distributor that you remember from the day one, and you can see magic start happening. You have this expanding blue bubble, which is basically an area of oxygen. So as long as you plug the oxygen distributor to the oxygen collector and they both have energy, you will get some decent area of air in there, so we can get out oxygen tanks off and we can breathe in that bubble. That's all it does basically. After some time I decided it's time to move the other oxygen collector to the big trees, because I thought it would give a lot more oxygen that way. The rest of the night was just me cutting down more trees using crooks and bare hands, and also you get these bird nests that you can basically scrabble to them and get some random small drops like feathers and stuff. Alright, day 3 started out with cutting more trees, but also we got these silkworms, which if you right click on a leaf with a worm, it started to infest the tree and will make the leaves turn white. And if we break the white leaves with a crook, we will get string, which will help us to make the sieves and a bunch more things, but for now I just made an achievement, which was great. I also found out that you can put string in barrels to make dirt, which is kinda nice. And also this is the day that I heartbrokenly found out that you cannot sleep, because I made a bed from that string, and when I try to sleep it says that I need a cryogenic and yeah, there's no way I can make that, so we'll leave that for later. Trust me, the next of the night was just planting trees and waiting for them to grow, which is kinda not fun to watch. Day 4 started out with, guess what? Yeah, more trees cutting. And I also got a lot of bird nests, which I searched through and got some eggs, which is nice. Also from all this tree cutting I was making some more dirt, and I made an oak crucible, which I didn't know how it works until later on. But it was there, it was an achievement, which was great. And the last thing I did that night was a sieve, finally, which will help me sieve some materials and get some better materials. Day 5 was a lot more productive, as it started out with some more tree cutting, and of course tree cutting means more dirt, and I had to manually get all my dirt blocks back to complete the achievement, but I got 16 pieces of dirt back, which was kinda neat. And then I replanted back all the trees. Because I was doing so good with dirt, I started sieving some dirt, which gives you a lot of things, from seeds to smaller rocks, which then you can turn into pieces of cobblestone. After completing the achievement for cobblestone, I got a few more pieces of cobblestone, and I decided to build my first furnace. And for that I got a few more stone blocks and some food. I also found out how the crucible works. You basically have to put saplings or pretty much any vegetation like leaves and stuff, and you slowly get some water in there. Also found out that you can collect some regolith, which is the Mars soil, and if you burn it in the furnace you will get sand. And when the crucible is filled up with water, you can put dust in there and you get clay. The dust is just sand that you break with a hammer and it turns out into dust. Alright, so day 6 started off with more water making, and I got this cool skeleton head from a piece of dirt. I don't know why it's that, but I got it, so it's nice. I also have this achievement of building bonsai pots, so I had to make a lot more clay. On this day I found out that the bed is bouncy when you jump on it. I thought that was pretty cool. Alright, so back to the bonsai pots. They're basically some pots that act weird, because if you place them on the ground and you place a block of dirt in them, you will see the trees growing in miniature, which was kinda cool. And then you can cut them down with your axe, but you will get only like a few small amounts of wood and stuff, but it's still growing way quicker than a normal tree. Anyways, I did a challenge. Next up was to make a clay bucket, which then needs to be burned out so you can use it. Clay buckets work with water but only work once with lava, so there's that. But now with my clay bucket I could start my own farm, because I could pick up water from the oak crucible and just move it where I wanted. Last thing I did that night was to make a little more water and give myself an infinite pool of water, so there's no more water needed to be done in here. Starting off day 7 by breaking some more cobblestone from the previous days of sieving, because by breaking cobblestone with a hammer you get gravel, and I have to make a tons of gravel, sand and dust. In the meantime I also collected my small trees and made some more dirt, because we need that for more cobblestone. That will eventually get turned into gravel. I also collected more regolith because it kinda helped me skip on step, because remember, if we burn regolith we get sand, and if we break sand with a hammer you get dust, and if we put dust into crucible filled with water we get clay. As you can see, it's all getting together. So after completing the challenge with the gravel, sand and dust, we had to make grout, which is a combination of sand, clay and gravel. The next big step was to make crucible, but for that I need porcelain, which I needed bones for, or bone meal. And lucky me, I kept some bones from the bird's nest we got in the first days. I used some of the bone meal on my farm so I can advance to the next step in farming, and this got me some nice wheat. So back to the crucible, we started preparing porcelain, which you craft the crucible from, but then you have to burn it. Finally, with my crucible done, I get a lava clay bucket in exchange. And to make more lava, we need to melt cobblestone in the crucible, so we have to position the crucible above lava so it can heat up, ready to take the cobblestone in and make some more lava. In day 8, now that we have a crucible ready to running and produce some lava, we needed some cobblestone, so we had to make this cobblestone generator as soon as possible, which was not that hard, to be honest. I started sieving some more dirt to make some more cobblestone, and then I remembered I have a few extra pieces of stone that I get from an achievement earlier, and I could finally get my lava bucket from the crucible, because I needed that for my cobblestone generator, and here it is. I thought it needed power, so I placed it there, but it actually doesn't need any power. And if you put the chest underneath it, it will start pumping out cobblestone for you. This was a big day. We have tons of cobblestone, basically infinite cobblestone, and we can also now produce tons of lava. One more important thing I added today was an oxygen compressor, which I had from the first day. This basically helps us refill the oxygen tanks that let us breathe. You just hook it up to the main oxygen collector, give it some energy, and it works like charm. We started day 9 with the hope of building a smeltery, because remember, we made a lot of grout in the previous days, and if you burn grout you get seared bricks, and with seared bricks you can build up elements that together will build a smeltery, which will help us get more and more material smelted. But I didn't know really what I was doing, so yeah, those Goodwits mods probably cry right now. I tried to hook the crucible to the main tank, the smeltery didn't work. It was a pretty horrible day overall, but yeah, it had to happen. So yeah, that was day 9. We started day 10 with the goal of repairing the failed smeltery of the previous day, and after I was looking through the manuals on this awesome 3D view, I finally managed to figure it out. It needed some more sear bricks, so we got back to making that, and after a few more twitches, yeah, the smeltery finally worked. And now, for example, we could have made obsidian using only water and lava into the smeltery, because the next goal for us is to make an obsidian armor. It was only on this day that I finally discovered these weird crafting benches and patterns that actually help you to build interesting tools. Since I was already pretty advanced into the game, you know, the flint tools and all that were pretty bad, so I kinda gave it up and waited to make some better tools later on. We continued to the night to make some more obsidian. Day 11 was a day I was trying to figure out how to make advanced blocks using stone barrels, because you have to place lava in the stone barrels, and if you sieve dust you get all sorts of dust basically. For example, redstone, glowstone and all that. And for example, we placed the glowstone on top of a lava barrel and we got a piece of endstone. So yeah, it was pretty hard to figure out how to get other dusts, but it's pretty much a lot of sieving involved. Next up, I tried to hook up the cobblestone generator to the crucible, so I don't always need to go and fill up the crucible myself with cobblestone, but it didn't work like I thought it would, so I needed a few more steps before I could do that. I also misplaced a skystone, which was really hard to break. And then I've seen that you can reinforce a sieve, and basically now we got a flint stiffen mesh or something like that, which basically helps us to get the chances of material drops increased by a small percent, but it's still better. Alright, so with our new sieve we started to make more and more gravel, so for that there will be tons of cobblestone breaking and gravel sieving for better materials. And we had our first encounter with a weird enderman that got kinda close. Day 12 was pretty boring. All day I was making gravel, sieving gravel, and put that on repeat because that was literally a whole Minecraft day. But I finally got some materials like iron and things, so I could make an iron stiffen mesh, which will increase the chance of getting better materials more often, I guess. I burned my first pieces of iron, which it was kind of a mistake. I should have put them into the smeltery, then I would have got more pieces out of the 4, but it was fine. So I placed my new sieve down and started sieving some more gravel, and little that you know, I got my first diamond and my first emerald, which was really satisfying because a diamond has a chance of 0.8% to get from sieving gravel. So yeah, that's that. Next day we started working with some iron. We smelted some more iron and we got our first block of iron from the smeltery, and then I've seen that we need to make some tool casts which are made from gold, so we had to smelt more gold into the smeltery so we get the molten gold so we can cast it into different shapes for tools. That's basically what it is. And since the gold was still smelting, I started to work on some sort of base frame, which was obviously a dome shape I was imagining, but of course I f***ed it up, and yeah, I spent the next of the night fixing it, and finally it looked like some sort of circle, which eventually we will turn it into some sort of dome. You need sphere shape cubicles on Mars because of the pressure, so we can really build a square house on Mars until we terraform it. On day 14 we started off by making some tool heads and rods so we can pour molten gold over them and create casts for better tools, because our next challenge was to make obsidian tools. So we spent a lot of time doing that, and finally I made my own iron bucket because I knew I had to do tons of obsidian, and you get obsidian by placing a water bucket and the lava bucket into the smeltery, so I needed an iron bucket that I can use infinitely, right? With my obsidian head tools done, I finally got a really cool present from the Mighty Book of Quests, which was this cool shuriken and the creative modifier, but the shuriken was quite cool, I gotta be honest. The next day we started off by falling into the smeltery and burning my feet off, and then we did some more sieving and I got my second diamond and a few more other materials, but I decided to finish up the obsidian tools because I hoped for something way better than a stone pickaxe, right? But it turned out to be really disappointing. At least it wasn't really much more faster than my stone pickaxe. I know you can add things on top of these tools, but since I don't really have too many materials, it's pretty useless for now, at least. So, as I said in the previous days, I was really hoping to hook the cobblestone generator to the crucible so it can produce lava by itself, so I don't have to touch anything. And I remembered there are these things that transport items from one storage to another, basically, but I needed some redstone, which I get from dust, so I started sieving more. In the meantime, I was making some more obsidian because I wanted to complete the armor, so I feel more secure at night. Alright, so after more sieving and a lot of sweat, I finally got my pieces of redstone and I could finally build the things I needed, and I hooked up the cobblestone generator to this crucible using these transfer pipes, and it worked. Now lava will be produced in the crucible forever, so it was kind of big advancement right here. I started day 16 by figuring out how I can transfer the lava to the main tank of the smeltery, because that way lava could produce itself and then empty out into my tank, so I don't have to right click with my buckets all the time to empty it so it can produce more. And I discovered that there are transfer nodes for fluids, which was great, and it was pretty easy to make actually. So after connecting that, it finally worked, and now the lava from the crucible would always fill my smeltery tank, which was great. Next up, I adventured a little bit further from my base, which was the first time in 16 days, and it was also the furthest I ever got from my base, to get these meteor things, right? I wonder from the day one what were they, so yeah, it was kind of nice to finally break them. But I also seen this weird looking one, which was green, and yeah, to be honest, I didn't expect a green worm to escape out of it. So even though it was really cute, I had to kill it to see if it drops anything, and all it did was this horrible noise that I will never forget pretty much. But that was it. I'm sorry, green worm. And my next idea was to add more crucibles so I get even more lava produced, but I needed some more bones so I can make porcelain. But for that I need bones, and for bones I needed to kill skeletons. In the beginning I started to fight with this guy, but it turned out to be an evolved skeleton, which I didn't expect, and it was pretty kicking my ass pretty much. So I hide in my trees and start cutting down. But I remember something. I had this amazing shuriken which I can shoot from distance, and managed to kill 2 skeletons in the night, and I got my bones and I was happy for the night. Day 17 was pretty productive, as we added another crucible that produces more lava. I then cut some more trees, hoping to get some bird nests so I can get even more bones. In the meantime, I was still building my obsidian armor, and yes, I got one bone from a bird nest, which was cool. And I've used it to make even more crucibles, and I hooked them all up to my smeltery, which now produces tons of lava. Also, at the end of the day, I finally managed to complete my obsidian armor, which was looking pretty badass, and in exchange I got 12 obsidian blocks, and I could complete even more tasks by building an obsidian sword and an obsidian spear. Now I was finally feeling a bit more safer. Day 18 was pretty boring. I only made a few more bonsai pots because I was hoping to make more and more dirt. And I also made this weird looking hammer that is made out of 9 more hammers, which looks weird, and I thought it was really worth it, but it's really not worth it. And spent the whole night sieving gravel. Ugh. I did very little on day 19 because I don't know why, but I did very little. I just made these bonsai pots that extract the things automatically and place them into chests, but it didn't really work out, so I abandoned it there, and I got back to breaking more cobblestone and sieving gravel basically. And I did that for the next couple of days, for day 20, 21, 22, and finally, here's how the chest looked after those days of sieving. And I adventured a little bit more outside of my base to get a few more meteorites so I can finish up the achievements. And as I was walking, I found this cool little bag of treasures, but didn't really have too many treasures in there. Got my meteorites, and as I was turning back home, I've seen my base, and it was kind of looking creepy and very futuristic at the same time, I guess. I don't know, maybe. When I got back home, I took a look at my achievements, and on the meteor side thing, my next achievement is to build all these complicated things that required too much effort for now, so I let it for another time. And guess what we did next? Yeah, you guessed it. More cobblestone and more sieving. Next day, I did all this sieving for something you expect, right? Yes, I did it for the diamonds. And finally got my 4 diamonds, and I could make a diamond stiffened mesh, which supposedly increases the chance of getting better materials. And I was very curious about this auto sifter thing, because I was quite tired of sieving myself. So I started building it. Slowly but surely I made stone gears, wooden gears, stone rods, and a lot of bunch of things. On day 25 we kept going with this auto sifter thing, but for this I needed few pistons, and for pistons you need redstone, which turned out I need more dust to sieve, so you know the drill. Gravel, sand, dust, and we sieve dust and we get redstone. Finally got my auto sifter, and now the comedy begins because I didn't know how to set this up, and yeah, I let you enjoy this beautiful moment of me trying to guess what all this thing does. How do I go by making a water wheel turn and spin? It was a complete mess. I mean, yeah, I let this roll for a bit. Alright, and if you think that's enough, it even goes more. Alright, so enough with the bullshit. Finally managed to get it working and to shake my sieves. But I did all that for this crap? I mean, oh my god, don't get me wrong, but I think it's faster to sieve with my hands broken than this. Whatever, I will try to add more sieves in an upcoming days, but this is pretty disappointing. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. This is part 1 of surviving 100 days on Mars. We currently have 25 days survived, and if you count the nights as well, it's basically double, so we are exactly at the half of this journey. So if you want me to continue this, and if you want part 2, let me know by liking the video and maybe subscribing. But with that being said, thank you for watching for now, and I see you with the next video.